Leader of Government Business.
Mr. Speaker, I ask leave of Parliament to move a motion without notice.
Slip granted. Slip granted. Leader of Government Business.
Mr. Speaker, I move that so much of the standing orders be suspended as would prevent A, the Parliament sitting beyond 8 p.m. this day, and B, the Parliament adjourning on a motion to move by a minister at any time.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favor say aye. Honorable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, me hamamas, na me feel totally honored. Lo senap, lo I blow you, lo this house, long all people blow you me, long talk, long Parliament, also Prime Minister now. Yipla, all leaders, all people making Yipla put him hand on top. Na making me, na make him big privilege na honor. Na me send up long address him this house. Me sawa also all people blame me throughout the length and breadth long country blame me. Inside long 462,840 square kilometer block ground imigat. On top long over 600 island you got, including mainland. We like talk. Speaker, pass them through. People, congratulations to you yet. People of Manus trust in you. Amamaslo leadership lo you. All vote him you come inside. No God one heavy lo Manus. All Ibiani pass him to vote, now vote him you come inside, you kiss him swearing or say member of Long Manus. The Parliament, he looks out at you, now give him big vote. Especially time vote where he no got not play you oppose him speaker, be like talk big congratulations to you past them. Come back lo this all members of Parliament, you may stop lo here. I just want to sincerely also congratulate every members of Parliament for winning our seat in this house that our people owned. Mr. Speaker, I also see in this house, and I'm encouraged to see senior faces, continuing members who bring experience into the house or into the business of Parliament. And I also see freshness. All first-time members come inside. It encourages me to see a great deal of skill, expertise, experience that we all bring into this house, and let me congratulate each and every one of all our members of Parliament, those who are sitting directly opposite me and those who are also with me. Doesn't matter which side of the house you sit. Importantly, we are leaders of our people. We are elected to serve them, we represent them, and collectively we are one people, one country, one nation. And I just want to appreciate the fact that today the Parliament came in total unison. There was no dissenting view and opposing view on two important Parliament business that precedes any new Parliament, the election of the Speaker and the election of the Prime Minister. For that, let me appreciate all the leaders who were at present today doing our people's business. Mr. Speaker, having said this, let me pay tribute to the generation before us, the founding fathers and mothers of our nation, some of whom have gone before us. Some still remain, and one who remains, none greater than the Right Honorable Sir Julius Chain. Let me pay a special mention to him. He is a last man standing in as far as the class of leadership that fought for our country's independence, that defined and designed our national sovereignty. Sir Julius still stands today amongst us, better known as the last man standing. Today, on behalf of all parliamentarians on both sides, I just want to say thank you very much. And I want to wish him a long life, good health, as he begins yet again another term of Parliament, the 11th Parliament with all of us. I want to also place on record in the handset a sincere thank you for his long service, a long distinguished service to the National Parliament and to our country in many capacities. In capacity as a former Prime Minister or Prime Minister, as a State Minister, and as a Member of Parliament representing his beloved Namatanai, as well as now the Governor of his beloved and our beloved New Ireland Province. Mr. Speaker, having said this, I want to appreciate some who have gone before us. This government is not a new government. Although it is a new term of Parliament, this government is a continuing government, Mr. Speaker. We started the journey in 2019. I just want to thank some who are not here with us. They were the impetus, the core, the foundation of a movement that said, enough of succumbing to personal interests, corporate greed, corporate interests, foreign interests. It is time we take back our own destiny and try to do it right for our country. Our nation, especially our contemporary recent past, is littered with many mistakes. And the movement started in 2019. And I just want to thank some who are not here with us. They have left in this concluded election. And some who are also here with us, I just sincerely, on behalf of my wife, my children, my people of Tari and Pori, let me say thank you. In 2019, I was amongst the many. I was maybe the least in terms of ranking. I was maybe the most unpopular. However, amongst a house of equals and in a class that was littered with many equally capable, if not more capable than me, I was entrusted the leadership role in 2019. And today, 3 years on, I want to take time to appreciate, having appreciated the members who stood with me that time. Most of them formed into a nucleus of becoming Pangu Party members of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, in case many do not understand the rationale of the choice of Pangu Party, let me state from up front. Pangu Party was chosen by myself and by the leaders who were part of the 2019 movement to make a statement that it is about time this country gets back on the road that the fathers who went before us at 1968 and 1975 saw, and a road that leads to equal opportunity for all. Doesn't matter which part of our country you come from, highlands or lowland, southern or northern, islands, small or big, doesn't matter. Despite our diversity, 1975 aim and focus was for a total union of one people, one nation, one country. And today, 3 years on, the statements we made in 2019 was not a James Marape statement. The statement and the focus we said we will embark upon in 2019 was not just something that was loosely picked. The overwhelming mandate this country has given to Pangu Party, the almost 40 members of parliament retained under the Pangu Party network, those who were endorsed properly, 36, second highest only to the record of 53 from 1982, is a testament, Mr. Speaker, that the country affirms, undisputedly affirms, the cry of fighting for their rights, the cry to empower ordinary Papua New Guineans. Those who are left in the out corners of our country must be connected with enabling roads and infrastructures. And the overwhelming evidence that Pangu Party is timeless. It is not about James Marape, but about the values and the core beliefs that Pangu Party and some of the foundation parties of our country envisioned in 1975. Today we are here, Pangu at 2022 elections, overwhelming, back at the drive seat. And I want to take some time to thank everyone who voted today. Pangu is you, you are Pangu, because Pangu is Papua New Guinea. Pangu stands for Papua and New Guinea united. Pangu stands for leaving no one behind, leaving no place behind, making everyone wealthier, making everyone healthier, making everyone educated, making everyone grow together in a country of abundance. That is why, Mr. Speaker, before I go further in my conversation, I have to remind all of us my statement on 30th of May 2019. I said Papua New Guinea must be the richest black Christian nation on earth. I said Papua New Guinea must become an economy that has peaked past 200 billion kina by the turn of this decade. I said Papua New Guinea must be a country that takes back more from our resources and plow back into our domestic economy and enable all parts of our country to benefit from whatever resource this country has by the blessings of God, the Creator. Mr. Speaker, that is not a conversation strictly mine and mine alone. Those were the conversation at 1975 when the fathers of our country gave political independence. They envisioned a country that is totally economically independent, free, wealthy, everyone has a positive engagement in life. They crafted legislations, they built institutions, they wrote policies, they established relationship within and abroad so that we can gain that independence that they sought after. Mr. Speaker, they laid the cornerstone and foundation. However, today's generation, my generation, you with me in this parliament, the baton has been passed to us. The task is before us, however big it may be. And that is why when Pangu went to the elections, we said, with political independence, this generation must give economic independence to Papua New Guinea. Investors, bilateral partners, opposition voices out there, not just in parliament, but out there in society. If you doubt that this was not contemporary, the election result shows that these conversations are totally necessary to ensure Papua New Guinea fares into a society that blesses not just Papua New Guineans, but our investors and our partners within our source and those who have relationships with us. Those conversations we made in 2019 and we're speaking today, Mr. Speaker, is not absolutely new. The Vision 2050 that Grand Chief Somare launched and place for this nation in 2010 talks about our nation by the end of 2050. Our nation must be smart, wise, fair, healthy, and a happy society. Our nation must be in the top 50 in as far as rating is concerned by HDI standards. This was the vision set by the then NA government in 2010. In this decade, it talks about making the economic leap so that we can be totally economically sound and strong. That is why I told department heads, that is why I'm telling many people, we have no time to waste. We must frustrate, for time and luxury of time is not something that we have in abundance. Papua New Guineans are born into a society today where unemployment is few, educational opportunity is scarce, health facilities is totally dilapidated. We went to the elections to fight to get more from our natural resources. In getting more from them, we will ensure we plow it back into the key enabling investments in the health and education and infrastructure, and our people can grow from it. Mr. Speaker, the road to recovery was started 3 years ago. 3 years ago, it was totally bad when we took office. We were coming out from a pronounced recession in 2018, and then we went straight into COVID-19 induced tough domestic and global economic times, and then the politics of 2020 and 2021. However, by God's grace and by the help and hand of our treasury, our planning, our finance, our own government, our state-owned enterprises, and the reforms that was done at that place by our development partners, those who have been loyal friends to Papua New Guinea since 1975, we were able to sail through, and today we have arrived at this juncture. Today I just want to ask us, our core principles are anchored in our Constitution. Our democratic values are anchored in our Constitution. If any one of you doubt that our nation will survive thus far as a constitutional democracy, far from it. Pangu Party, 3 years away from our nation celebrating 50 years of independence, is now back in the driver's seat. We are back in the driver's seat. It just shows that this nation is a strong, robust democracy. Some of our necessary policies that has kept us going is relevant today, but however, we must look into what needs to be done. Mr. Speaker, in 1975, Pangu gave the legislature. In 1975, Pangu gave judiciary. In 1975, Pangu gave the executive arm of government. In 1975, key foreign policies like friends to all, enemies to none were put in place. And by the way, in the midst of all this geopolitics that goes in and around us, your enemy is not my enemy. We are friends to all and enemies to none. We will treat all international partners fairly, and we will honor all relationships that we have held with most of our nations since 1975. Today, as we navigate through, I just want to appeal to this House. We are 3 years from turning 50 years. 50 years and celebration in the 50th year of any organization or a country for that matter is often labeled as Golden Jubilee. What is golden our generation can offer to our nation in the midst of many challenges that we face? The forefathers of our country, when they gave us independence, as I said earlier, they looked into Papua New Guinea. They saw a land that had abundance of resources, agricultural resources, marine resources, mineral resources, forestry resources, tourism resources, and the potential we had. Yet we still are not getting enough from these resources. Work must continue, and we have studied it, Mr. Speaker, and I propose some things that we must do. Strengthening the democratic processes is fundamental. Building a resilient economy is fundamental. Building economic infrastructures is fundamental. Addressing natural resource loss and how we harvest the benefits from these resources, at the same time not chasing away our investors, is fundamental. Addressing business and investment confidence is fundamental. Addressing law and order, working on education and health sector, strengthening institutions of state is fundamental. Mr. Speaker, this house called Papua New Guinea, built by the fathers of our country, led at 75 by Pangupati, is now a house that is 47 years old, or going 47. If a house that remains unmaintained for 47 years, you expect leaks, you expect hinges or doors falling apart, you expect roofs and walls that needs maintenance and reconstruction. Mr. Speaker, I propose to this House 3 years from 50 years of nationhood. It is time we, this generation, pick up the house and do major maintenance work again. The fundamentals remain strong, but maybe it has eroded over time. Let us get to work. And one of such work I propose to this House, Mr. Speaker, as we take office, is the strengthening of the democratic processes. We must reform our electoral processes. It is evident that maintaining the status quo on this is no longer an option. We all hear about what has happened in 2022. We know about what has happened in 2017, where when the election wreaths were returned to the 2017, after the 2017 election, only 10 counts were still going on. Today, about more than 10 counts are still going on. For today's occasion, I ask this honest question. Treasurer released over 600 million kina out to the Electoral Commissioner, to the police, to the Defense Force. Someone needs to explain what happened to this money. How comes we have struggled to deliver a healthy electoral process? That is why I propose, based on common advice coming through from our caucus, a review must take place to reform the electoral processes, to make sure that one citizen gets one vote. We must aspire to give an improved electoral system as a gift to the country on the 50th anniversary of the independence of our beloved Papua New Guinea. A better, improved voting process and system. We must build strong governance oversight, arrangement for the Electoral Commission. We must adopt a systemized way of updating our common role, deploy every means necessary to have reliable identification systems. We must seriously address possibly biometric ID system and possibly electronic voting system and counting system, eradicate many manual human inputs in the system of elections that we've had thus far. I also want to commit to our country a national population census associated with electoral reform will be conducted as early as 2023, starting with the supplementary budget allocation for these activities to take place in 2023. Mr. Speaker, there will be a number of nationwide consultations we have to conduct. First and foremost, if I may propose, is for us to consult our people. I've heard voices from within and outside on whether a Prime Minister ought to be elected by the people, directly by the people, or through the current process and pathway. This is a question that is possibly foundational, for the value of national leadership cannot be held to ransom by many vested interests that are at play in the current system, and there are many voices coming through. Maybe it's about time we look at how Prime Minister is elected, and one greater voice emerging is whether people can elect Prime Minister directly at the polls. But that can only be arrived if we tidy the voting process. One person, one vote. And I just want to give commitment to our nation. We as government will get to work in these areas of strengthening the democratic process. Mr. Speaker, secondly, we have to build a resilient economy. As I said earlier, when we took office, the economy was in recession. In 2019, we went to work. We did due diligences in our national status of our economy and the health of our economy. In that, the Treasurer passed a 2019 supplementary budget, 2018 to 2022 medium fiscal strategy, and the medium revenue strategy was set as a baseline for economy and management of our economy going forward. We became transparent and we were accountable in our budgeting processes. All stakeholders had a look into what we were doing. We embarked on a fiscal consolidation pathway that aimed for us to return into a surplus budget in the not too distant future, especially our focus as given by Treasurer in his 2022 budget for us to return back to surplus as early as 2027. And if we travel this path and this trajectory, we are seeing a total national debt eradication by 2033. Mr. Speaker, that disciplined approach is the reason why, despite imported inflation due to the war in Ukraine, despite, on average, many parts of the planet facing severe issues dealing with inflation and the economy being hit, Papua New Guinea and the interventions we made recently has stabilized the economy. Price that has gone up, let me assure our country. For instance, last year, or before we went to the election rather, the Treasurer handed down a 610 million kina support and subsidy to ordinary Papua New Guineans. You would pay less at essential food items and household items. You would pay less at the fuel bowser. Those who are earning salaries below 17,500 kina, the security guards and the lower income earners would no longer be paying any personal income tax. Those were things that we started to do when the going went tougher early this year and from last year on. This sort of treasuries and treasury support will carry on down the path in an effort to build a resilient economy. Mr. Speaker, we're trying our very best to build the economic infrastructures. Our Connect PNG to all parts of our country will carry on. On top of these roads must unbundle down into a jetty or a port somewhere, must link to an airport or airstrip somewhere, must have power lines and ICT connectivities so that our economy is fed or sustained by enabling infrastructures for us now and going forward into the future. Mr. Speaker, we embarked upon state-owned enterprise reforms, and I want to pay special mention to the Honorable William Duma. As Minister of State-owned Enterprises, we have embarked upon special reform. ADB has given tick to these reforms. IMF has given tick to these reforms, and we're receiving direct support from these credible international lenders as a sign of confidence to the work we're doing to build back better, to make sure our state-owned enterprises are not always depending on cash from our national budget, but sometimes into the distant future, they're able to stand on their own 2 feet and serve our country better in their functions as state-owned enterprises, especially in the essential areas of telecommunication, the essential areas of power and water. We cannot risk inefficiency in these places. And I want to put on notice those Papua New Guineans that we have tried. We've given you work as leaders in these key state-owned enterprises. You must rise up now. You must prove your worth. You must find solutions. Governments give you policy directions. You must make these state-owned enterprises work. For if you cannot make these state-owned enterprises work, find another job, maybe you're in the wrong place. I want to also address on something that is close to me, the natural resource sector. In a country that is blessed with oil, gas, mining, fisheries, energy, and all other resources we can imagine of, the big question we have been asking, and especially my generation and my type of people come from places where resources are abundant, yet development is almost nil. Me repeating again, Mr. Speaker, kind man say me also you too. Come to a place where you got plenty of fish, you got plenty of DY, you got plenty oil and gold and gas, but how comes place no got colta yet? How comes place no got housing yet? How comes place no got marathon yet? How comes place is stop bauxite yet? And bigla question tablo mind blue mibla. Mibla, me senables and Prime Minister, block kind old man Mary. We're asking this little question stop it. And so, Mr. Speaker, in 2020 I told all our investors, especially in the mining and gas sector, by 2025 we would be going into a new regime in as far as resource laws are concerned, without harming your rate of return on your investment. Your bottom line, your profit margin will be maintained, but Papua New Guinea too must get a little bit more. Not just government, but more importantly, landowners. All the own him DY, all the own him fish, all the own him all resources, all he must kiss him more. Maybe like monetize him. All this something good. Now today, me like also put him on notice. Fisheries Department, good luck you work him, but make him more. Forestry Department, good luck you work him, but make him more. About me come this behind. Forestry, people talk finish. No got more run-log export by 2025. No got more run-log export by 2025. So all this resource, country, people like kiss him good deal. And I just want to appreciate, for the benefit of our country, I want to appreciate those who hold licenses. Wafi Golpu, Piniang, Papua, Pasca, Pogara, we will work with you as earliest as possible to ensure it is progressed. Program being the lowest hanging fruit, I want to appeal to all stakeholders, Papa Ground, Enga Provincial Government, MRE, Barik, at the very earliest being the lowest hanging fruit, we must get to work and make Pogara come back to life. National government has shown commitment by putting substantial funding aside to make Pogara come to work at the very earliest. But other projects like Papua, Piniang, Pasca, Wafi Golpu, Frida Valley, suppose you like enjoying benefit of existing. If you want to enjoy existing regime, get to work and progress the license requirements you have. When we go past 2025, we might be shifting into a new regime. And you have been placed on notice. You also ask again, work with us. If big, the #1 gold miner in the world like Barik can come and talk to government and progress this sort of deal that is better for Papua New Guinea. I want to also appreciate ExxonMobil, who has given us good response in Piniang. I want to appreciate Total, who has progressed Papua into pre-feed and feed now. Other mining and oil and gas companies who are in our country, let us get to work and progress so that you win and I also win. And I take back more for my people, for my provinces, and for the country in totality. Mr. Speaker, talking about all our resources, let me also say in the agriculture, in the forestry, in the fisheries, this government and our generation will start a serious progress towards downstream processing. No more must we export raw timber, raw fish, raw tuna, raw agricultural resources. This coming parliament will make the leap, and this decade we must migrate into this space so that in the 2030s, Papua New Guinea must be an exporter of processed produce that God has placed in our own country. Our fish, our timber, our agriculture, our oil and gas, our gold, gold refinery, gold bullion, our metals. This can be done, but done properly. so that our investors get, as well as the residual must be within to grow economy to the way it's supposed to be, the place it's supposed to be. And this is our conversation that Papua New Guineans have endorsed at the elections. They vote for Pangu Party and the campaign philosophies that we ran in the last election, and the big number we secured. Not just those of us who came first, the 36 of us or 38 of us who came first, but we had 70 plus of our candidates of the 81 who came second and third. 70 of us came first, second and third, 36 of us came through. This is an overwhelming endorsement by our people that our conversation on getting back more from our resources is something that is truly a national concern. Whilst we get back more, I just want to, Mr. Speaker, at this juncture, inform our country, our coalition of leaders in our retreat at Lolowata have agreed that we must not delay the conversation on sovereign wealth fund. Something must be set up. Without harming our intention to support a budget, the sovereign wealth fund must be set up at the earliest. This is something that we propose also to do. Key issues to support our primary industry to go the next mile. Our price support will carry on. Our commodity support, commodity freight subsidy will carry on so that our people get engaged. And I just want to, at this juncture, appeal to our people. Your government is doing everything possible to ensure that you harness benefit that God has placed in your own land. No can go lotu long Sunday or Saturday na you know man walk lo ground. No can current proposal round long Hilton na Crown Hotel na ogara can hotel round what the proposal tasol. Put him handly dirty lo ground. Government put him finish price support. Government put him finish freight subsidy. One more you like him. Planting satok when help me SME. Time will stop lo government also help me SME. Last 3 years we starting finish 200 million kina every year. We are doing this so that Papua New Guinea economy can be diversified, Papua New Guinea economy can be bigger, Papua New Guinea economy can grow, and everyone has a role to play in this one. And I call our ordinary citizens right across the length and breadth of our country. We will be working with provincial government, we will be working with our districts to ensure wherever you are in our country, our special economic zones are established and we tap into the potentials of business that you got long in. I'm also putting restriction. Reviewing this restricted business list. Now, line in enough supposed to make him business law this area. You know, can make him more Papua New Guineans get into the front seat of doing business yourself. And our government is pro in ensuring that we set up business and do business and go forward. We talk to planting law this Mr. Speaker, simply because we cannot be the economy we want to be if Papua New Guineans are not in the space of doing business. Take Back PNG is all about Papua New Guineans in the space of doing business. And our government will move big in this space in the next 5 years and going forward in the next 10 years. Whilst doing this, Mr. Speaker, we know that to ensure Papua New Guineans go into the space of business, law and order must be a very important enabler of businesses. Mr. Speaker, I am seriously thinking of combining police, combining CIS into an internal security ministry. One minister responsible for the internal security of our country. Any lawbreaker, you are an enemy to the country. Now I repeat, any lawbreaker, you are an economy to the country. When we talk about taking back more, getting back more, growing our economy, building an economy, that is totally redundant or useless if our law and order environment is not conducive. A strong focus of our government would be in the law and justice sector. We'll ensure that our law enforcement agencies are given greater and full support. Police and correctional services will be no longer side ministries, but core ministries going forward. Lawbreakers will be seen and pronounced as enemy to our country. We want to also work with our judiciaries and our magistrate services. All appropriate pathways for dispute resolution must be established. The village courts, the district courts, the national court and Supreme Courts, so that and holistic approach to law and justice sector work. When this work, our economy is strong and our services get set better. And I want to at this juncture say thank you very much to all members of police, defense, CIS, all magistrates, all village court officials, all peace officers, and our judges all the way to our Chief Justice. You have held our country together the last 46 years. I look forward to work with my leaders who are here with me in this parliament to ensure we work better and give you support so that you too can work better in protecting the law and order environment in our country. In a passing remark here, Mr. Speaker, I want to introduce a concept for correctional service institution. No longer will it just be a prison. It must be a place of correctly building our citizens to become better Papua New Guineans. We are looking at prison industries concept, a concept that National Alliance government introduced in 2009 but was left on the shelves. Correctional service will become a holistic place of building citizens better, linking them to trade and skills, linking them to SME, linking them to working for our country. Or if, for instance, children who are parentless and roaming, loitering in our cities, picked up, put into juvenile centers, and trained, schooled, and make them become better citizens. Correctional services, you have a bigger role to play in this government going forward. We cannot talk about law and order without talking about corruption. Hello, Papua New Guinea. Corruption has permeated our society, and it has been relentless. I want to place on record my thank you to members of last parliament who stood behind, especially the last 3 years when we took office. We delivered ICAC, the Independent Commission Against Corruption was passed. We're now looking for those who will work not from within but from outside to come so that they have independence of functionality. We've amended the Proceeds of Crime Act. We passed the Whistleblowers Act. Fighting corruption is just not also a law and order issue. It's an economic issue. It's an economic concern because there is no point getting back more from our resources if the resources are continually wasted as corruption or through corrupted avenues. Those leakages, if they continue, our resources we get, no matter how big it is, there will be a bigger portion wasted. Fighting corruption has a great corresponds to ensuring that the economy is healthier going forward. Mr. Speaker, we will make sure ICAC is functional. We will make sure we put in place systems and establish process and procedures that is totally independent and to ensure corruption is tackled and those who practice corrupt practices are accountable. This will work especially in partnership with the amended undisclosed wealth provision into the Proceeds of Crime Act, and I want to encourage public officials, elected public officials or appointed public officials, live within your means. There is no more time to accumulate wealth through corrupt practices. We will get to work in this space, and the work has started and will carry on. Mr. Speaker, talk about corruption, some inquiries have been made. Those inquiries will no longer collect dust at the shelves. Those inquiries will be brought out, not just the recent UBS inquiry for instance, but every other inquiry we'll look into so that this country must be seen as a country that addresses properly competent sanctioned inquiries that has been made and restitutions and correct courses will be taken as recommended by those inquiries. Mr. Speaker, on the health and education sector, they remain our number one focus in the education space. In quickly and in summary, our government aims to leave no child behind. Our policy will come out where every Papuan child leaves school at grade 12. Right now, with no space for in grade 9 and grade 10 and grade 11, we will expand the flexible open distance education pathway. Mr. Speaker, in case you do not know, last 3 years, we brought in over 50,000 children back into second chance learning through the FORD system. I will be working very closely with the provincial governments to ensure FORD is embraced in a big way in the next 10 years and going beyond. We want to convert all high schools into secondary school we must give education. It is their right. And I propose this Parliament make it our serious business that we do not leave kids at grade 8 or we do not leave kids at grade 10. Every child completes grade 12. And after grade 12, we want to create 20,000 spaces in the higher education sector. That work must start. We'll find a program that supports expanding the higher education sector because, Mr. Speaker, today we only have 10,000 space. There are 30,000 grade 12 graduates. 20,000 of them are left into society with no continued pathway for them. Education and creating space for education in our country is an urgent task, must be attended to ASAP. But, Mr. Speaker, not just education on math, science, English, and social science. I am proposing that our school system teaches about business, so that every child who goes into our school system learn about how to do business in the environment they are born into or in the environment they will come out of school. And this will continue. We want our education system to be a place that teaches holistic and wholesome education to our children and our citizens. Those who leave grade 12, Mr. Speaker, there's a program coming. Our Defence Force and National Volunteer Services will partner and we will start to pick up those children who are not in a placement after grade 12. We'll try our best to link them to National Volunteer Services and work in partnership with Defence Force to see if we can bring all our youths back into a formal, productive engagements, and especially linking them into the SME space that my government continues to talk about. And at this juncture, let me thank Australia government for creating many educational opportunities right now under the present Labour government. We started this conversation when Liberal government was in place. Today I want to place on record my appreciation to the present Labour government, Prime Minister Albanese, for his pro-Pacific outlook to get more Pacific into school and employment in Australia. Mr. Speaker, may it be known and said that Papua New Guinea is 90% of Pacific by population size. Papua New Guinea is 90% of Pacific by landmass. And Papua New Guinea is the only country that Australia had a pre-independent relationship with. And so I bid my claim that a greater part of the labor mobility and a greater part of the education opportunities, we are preparing grade 12 dropouts to go into employment and education in partnership with that Australian labor mobility and educational schemes that is being currently discussed. I just want to also thank Indonesia government. President Widodo, in my last visit, has offered over 2,000 technical vocational school spaces in their colleges and universities in Indonesia to fit into the SME sector and SME space. These will be areas where we will look into and expand upon. In the health sector, Mr. Speaker, we want to make health accessible. It is our people's right. And I made a statement when I launched the last health plan. I said, health facility must be 1 hour by walking, 1 hour by boat, or 1 hour by plane, or 1 hour by vehicle or truck. It simply means it must be accessible to our people. Health is their right. It means that aid posts must be available in all villages. Health center must be available in all LLGs. District hospital must be available in all our districts. Provincial hospital must be available in all our provinces. And a specialist hospital or few specialist hospitals must be in our country within reach of our people. We are setting a very aggressive target here. Whoever becomes a planning minister or whoever becomes a treasurer, it is our call to find a program to make big intervention in the health sector because COVID-19 exposed us totally naked, Mr. Speaker. When COVID-19 descended, I went and I found out in a nation of 8 million people, Mr. Speaker, we had only 200 ICU beds. Of the 200 ICU beds, Mr. Speaker, we had only 40 that had oxygen ventilation attached. This is pathetic. This is useless. This is totally not good for a country of abundance. Our people deserve better. And so I propose to my colleagues here with me that why don't you and me agree that a good gift to our nation in the 50th anniversary of our nation's celebration would be a reformed, refurbished, and better health system for our country. For you and me can sound like a muscle man here, but when sick comes upon us, I do not want, as leader of our country, to be medevaced to Australia or Singapore. I want to go straight into hospital in our own country, and it is really incumbent upon us to work in this sector. Health is our people's right. I look forward, by the end of this year, we have started a journey, in case people think James Marape is just talking. When we became government in 2019, we worked to ensure Port Moresby and Lay Hospital become our nation's specialist hospitals. By the end of this year, if not in September, working with Kumul Petroleum, the Port Moresby Heart Facility would be modernized. There will be no more need for Papua New Guineans to go to Philippines or Singapore or Australia for heart cure or heart operations. We will have that by the end of this year. We've been working on Lake Cancer Facility. That also should come on by the end of this year. We must now build facilities for kidney and other specialists right across our country. And I want to encourage all who work in the health department. Enough now of thinking small. We want to give health to our people at the very earliest, and this government must rise to the occasion in as far as health is concerned. Mr. Speaker, some priorities remain in as far as our government is concerned. One of them is working with our provincial government. And I want to ask all provincial governors, you join us and we work together, whether it's in the health sector or in every other sector. My government will give great support to the provincial government system. Our 21 provincial governments, and in case someone asks me, it should be 22, let me place on record, Bougainville is not a provincial government. Bougainville is a special region. Whatever we deal with them at arm's length. They are a special region of our country, an autonomous region. There are 21 provinces we will work with to ensure you're empowered. Things like your health, things like your education, things like your economy, things like your infrastructure. What is a provincial government function will be a provincial government function, and a meeting in WIWEC in later part of this month will clearly differentiate what is a provincial government function and what is a national government function and what is district functions and responsibilities. We will work to ensure this gets done. Part of this reform includes the public sector reform, public servants. We want you to rise up to the occasion. Think beyond just your fortnight. Think beyond just looking after yourself. Public servants, you have a task to the country. I give commitment today that merit-based appointment processes will take precedent. We will ensure that all public servants are appointed on merit, and today I place all public servants who are in present employment on notice. Your performance will mean whether you stay on or you move on. This is not for only one or two departments. This is from right across the entire nation. Every fortnight, we have to look for 230 million Kinadao to pay our public servants. It is high time we take responsibility. We have been labeling the need for government to embark upon efficiency and effectiveness of our public service. This has become just common cat's cries. Let me inform this House that a special parliamentary committee on public sector reform that has started its work already, that's looked into what needs to be done, will be considered seriously upon by our government. I thank Governor Jufa, and I thank those who worked in this space. This reform will be looked at the very earliest so that we make our public service robust, effective, efficient, hold our public service and our public servants responsible and accountable to good service delivery for our country so that we all can make our country better. And should I say, too many public servants in Port Moresby. I made a statement in 30th of May 2019. I'm still making this statement again. Mr. Secretary for Prime Minister and NEC, Madam Secretary for DPM, look into the bloated head in Waigani, sift that head elsewhere, to the provinces and to the districts. Make them go to the province and districts, and they can work in those spaces. Some vital other reforms that we will look at and work as directed by my caucus is to look into, for instance, land reform. Only 3% of our land today are state land. We will look into the area of land reform to ensure that our people's ownership of land is given and they're given great attention. The asset in as far as land ownership is monetized so that they too can use that as a resource base to improve their own lives going forward. Mr. Speaker, let me come to conclusion by speaking on Bougainville and our country. Bougainville is a special place. A greater challenge that faces us is Bougainville. They voted for independence. 97.7% of Bougainvilleans who participated in the referendum voted for independence. They demand and desire a political settlement to a political question. We've already agreed, and to our citizens in Bougainville, we love you very much. You are part of us. As high as Mount William is, your result of 97.7% will remain fixed in our nation's history. But this is a constitutional question. No member for Tari on my own can decide on the sovereignty of our total union. And I want to assure our citizens and friends in Bougainville this matter will be put to the country. President Toroma and Bougainvilleans will join me, and we will go hand in hand. Some critical questions will be asked as we consult our country in a constitutional consultation. An earlier conversation I made was on the method of Prime Minister election. Those sort of key questions will be asked together with the Bougainville issue. And when the nations are consulted, the pathway for us, as we said in Wabek, where in 2024, the matter for Bougainville comes to our national parliament, will be brought upon. And I want to thank all Bougainvilleans who have understood that the journey is still long ahead. It is not easy. We are a union as a nation. It is a political question. It infringes on our national unity. It touches on sovereignty, which is a huge constitutional burden on us. Our union together was placed together by constitutional definition at 1975. It will only take a constitutional amendment to unbundle this union. And I want to ask Bougainvilleans, fear not, Papua New Guineans, fear not. Let's take this journey together and we find a political solution to this political question that our people in Bougainville every day demands an answer of. Today as we come, this question, like Bougainville, is a test to our national union. And I just want to appeal to all citizens of our country. Let us believe that we can rise to the occasion. Our country can become a better place. Amidst all the challenges that we are going through, we can get better from where we are today. I want to thank all other development partners who have stayed with us. Multilateral communities, you've been a great part of us. Some of my conversations on our economic sector, please find me partners that we can together work in. I thank all who have supported us in those economics areas, companies like Exxon, Total, Santos, Barrick, Newcrest, Harmony, our companies in the agriculture sector, for instance, the New Britain palm oil, and all the other companies in the forestry space. Join us in the next phase of our nation's journey as we make the turn from just being raw exporters into processing our natural produces into finished product to export out there. I ask in the first instance to all of you who are investors right now in our country, why don't you join me and my colleague leaders as we make this stand. In concluding my speech, I have spoken long and I do apologize to this august House, but much work remains for us. This work cannot be done by a Prime Minister alone. I need each and every one of you for us to sit together and work. And ask every citizen, my colleague leaders will try our very best to rise up. As the magic 50-year mark approaches us, ask not what your country can do for you. Why don't you and me, as citizens of our country, number one, and as I conclude, look after law and order in wherever we come from. To all public servants, look beyond your fortnightly income. To all citizens of our country, try your best to find your hand on an economic activity. Your government will find ways to assist you move into the space of SME and business. If you do not know where to do, go back to your land, till your land. To our students who are in school, we are looking for opportunities to ensure you remain still in school and come out as a productive citizen. Next 3 years is a 3 years that is important for us, and I want to conclude by saying, I give you all our total commitment. For me, coming out from simple rural Papua New Guinea, today I drove down into Government House and saw ordinary Papua New Guineans coming out and waving and to embrace the formation of the new government for the 11th Parliament, it made me commit myself to serve our people better. And I ask my members of Parliament, my colleagues, in the House of Equal, you pick me up to be the chief servant of our country. We are a nation of one people. We are a nation that has abundance of natural resources. I want all of us to come together. Let us put Papua New Guinea first. Yemi must put him, Papua New Guinea, go past them. PNG, Atoa, Guna. Yemi make him walk one time, put him PNG first. I'm sure our country will be a better place. I look forward to serving each and every one of you as the chief servant of our country, utilizing the Christian values and the Melanesian principles that has governed us for so long. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I sincerely appreciate the role that this Parliament has given me under your watch, and I look forward to serving not just one part of our country, not just my political party, but all part of our country and all our people together as the chief servant of our country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Governor for New Ireland.
Mr. Speaker, I would first like to congratulate all the new members to this Parliament and welcome back all the old members. Mr. Speaker, I should congratulate you, but you don't need my congratulation. It was unanimous on both sides. It was a total silence. So my congratulations would mean nothing. You should feel very proud. When you were counting the votes on who voted for the Prime Minister, for some reason, somebody has been branding me as the last man standing, and actually you counted me last. Now, I've been in politics of this country for more years than the country has existed. Now, you play Harem Tetelong, number one, Toktoblong Prime Minister. I want to, first of all, I don't know how to thank you, Prime Minister, but when you were talking, I pinched myself first. Me touching me, am I still alive? Because those kind of eulogies, those kind of praise are not are rarely made during your lifetime. They're only made when you're already somewhere else. So, Prime Minister, you are a very humble man, and I thank you very much for visiting me at my home when I was recovering, and the ministers who accompanied you. And I also want to join with the Governor General in welcoming you and on behalf. Minasawe, I can speak on your behalf or not because I'm the last man standing. But I'd like to, on behalf of some of the oldies, including the Governor next to me, to congratulate you, Prime Minister. for such a great victory of unanimously on both sides. And I think today it signified the kind of cooperation we're going to have in this 11th Parliament. And your presentation right now, of course, gives us a bird's-eye view of what your government will want to do. And I'm sure when the Governor-General opens this Parliament, he will have something bigger and more visionary statement prepared by you to give to this House of what you want to do for the next 5 years. I've seen times of crisis, times of danger, times of peril, but in more than 50 years of politics, I've never seen the kind of hostility. Also, we shouldn't hide these things. We must learn from our mistakes. And we must not fear to make mistakes. Also, a big country in the world, even in America, the President Roosevelt once said, the greatest fear is fear itself. All the country in the world has made mistakes. America is over 240-something years old. China is over 7,000 years of civilization. But only in the last 40 years, they have come forward, and China just only advanced in the last 40 years. So we should not hide those mistakes. We should accept it, and the only stupid people are the ones who don't learn from it. So I say to you, the only fear is fear itself. You are now in government, you have such a great majority, you can transform this country, and be not afraid. You can do it. And for 50 years in politics, I've never seen the kind of hostility, because people are probably living in a computer era now, and they expect everything to be correct all the time. But we're still human. I've never seen the kind of hostility, the kind of division, the kind of, and I must use the word, the kind of hatred I've seen in the past weeks. We expect too much sometimes, but without knowing that we're only human, you know. We are no different than those countries that have been going on for thousands of years. Now, one of the great poets, or writer, Tom Huxley, once said, there is no sea more dangerous than the sea of politics. And it is when the waves rise to the highest that there is the greatest need of experienced captain, a good crew, and of a single unfaltering purpose. Prime Minister, you can do it. Get the right crew with you, and be not afraid to do it. If something is right, no amount of accusation can make it wrong. If something comes from the heart, for the good of the nation, you should not be afraid to be criticized. The end justifies the means. The waves of discord, the waves of anger, Mr. Speaker, the waves of violence have risen to the highest in our history. Then you mean I can hide him? We got to ride over it. We got to conquer it now. We got to move on. And this happened in the history of this election, of the last election. But don't keep it. We just got to move on. Just imagine some of the civil war in some of the countries who are now top of the world. In America, they have civil war. They fought over it. Now you mean he got money there, and I've criticized it. But that's only something we learn from it. It's only the stupid people who cannot learn from it and repeat the same mistakes. And I'm sure with a genuine heart, you and your crew can lead us forward all together, transform this country, take it for the next 40-something years, or take it for the next thousands of years. So we need a good captain, and I think we got a good captain. I don't have to say it because the numbers already made it there. My word is just a passing shadow. The numbers and the vote in Parliament today said it all. So my congratulations to the Prime Minister. What a victory, yeah? The time you took toll on me now, yeah, and you pay tribute to me, I'll send me talk. I pinch myself a little bit and I say, am I still really alive? What kind word will send me come from a very humble person who came to visit me is a big thing. Yeah. You know, I will take it with me to the time when I go, huh? But not yet. Huh? Not yet. Mr. Speaker, our people are attacking each other, our people are killing each other, our people are divided as they have really been divided in the past. And though I am ashamed to say it, there are those among us here, as leaders among us, who have encouraged this behavior. We must change that. We are sometimes the cause of it, but don't be, don't just live with it. We got to correct ourselves and leave those things behind. I'm not here to cast any blame on anyone. There's been too much of that already, too much of it. It is time to move beyond blaming each other. Let's move beyond. It's time to heal. When you get sick, you don't wait for anything to happen. You drink medicine, you go to the doctor. We are just coming out of the hospital now. The election is over. Let's cure these ills. Let's move this nation forward. And we can do it. If we can't, who else will? You now have been elected to talk on behalf of our people and show the path for the future. And Prime Minister, today this Parliament has shown great confidence in you. You young parliamenters all. But you can lead. We all make mistakes. And we should not be afraid. As I say, what I said earlier, the greatest fear is fear itself. I remember, and I heard a lot, and I hear my friend here, the member for North Fly, who talk about Lee Kuan Yew. A great, great leader, Lee Kuan Yew. Well, Lee Kuan Yew once said, as we solve one problem, bigger ones emerge. Hey, that's the kind of problem is human. It's on this planet. It's not in heaven, where everything is sanctified and you don't get that kind of problem. So as we solve one problem, big and larger one emerge. We got to have the guts and the gumption to overcome it. So Prime Minister, go ahead. Move it if you think that is the right thing to do. You have the support of how many members here, I don't know, but all the others will just have to support it anyway because they won't be voting. So we have voted on their behalf already. Now, I don't want to take too much of anybody's time now. Mr. Speaker, I want to congratulate you again. You are the right man. As an old politician, I've gone through a lot of speakers, and seen a lot who just bulldoze and make their own standing orders on this Parliament, but you have been following it. I've been watching. So, Mr. Speaker, congratulations once again. On the floor of this Parliament, you are the boss. The leader of the government business is the one who will steer us. But the Prime Minister, of course, the minute you walk out of here, he's the king of the system that we have. So, once again, let me, on behalf of myself, I cannot speak on your behalf, but I sincerely hope you will join me in this, in this moment of praise for yourself, Speaker, and more so to the Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea, the Honourable James Marape. Thank you.
Honourable Member Lopomio.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
We have a point of order.
There was a question being put. One member put in question being put. Right? Has that been decided or not decided, and now you mark him member long home long talk. So you make him clear. If the maiden speeches by Wokolo continue, me like talk now me san up to start. Or something you make him just like clear, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Governor Morbe, point of order W, in order. Behind him steering order. Speaker, I must entertain him question be put. But since you may like congratulate him, Prime Minister Tok, lo side long government, you may been sit down long day Thomas, you come up now, na you may long night. Na milari mon lo side long government, and Muslim. Sir Julius, Governor of Long New Island, you mark him this side. Na law opposition side now, all another side lo house, milak look sabe, no member of lo pomio, no make him this la talk, long any mark him this side lo house. So me larim member of lo pomio, lo kishin flow.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Lo makim this side lo house. Me also am senior leader blo this side blo house me like makim tu me bla ulgeda long talk people looks away go long Prime Minister blo yemi Honorable James Marape today me mo kata makim me bla looks away tu lo sia you kisim Mr. Speaker lo looks away tu long we congratulate you on the your appointment today, your election today to the this of the Speaker too. Yes, Speaker, I'd like to say some few remarks on behalf of all of us here, on behalf of people of Pomio District and the others who are actually represented on this side as well. Mr. Speaker, this Parliament is a critical Parliament as we approach the 50th anniversary of our country's independence in 2025, which is actually 3 years away. I also pay tribute to Honorable the late Grand Chief Somare for taking us through our political independence. Mr. Speaker, Sir Julius Sen is still here today. We are privileged to also say this is a floor of Parliament with him, and we acknowledge his continuous support and his input to this Parliament. Mr. Speaker, our constitutional fathers imagine a life of our people that included good health, good education, and economic prosperity for all. The integral human development specified in the national goals and directive principles declares for every person to be free from every forms of domination or oppression, to have the opportunity to develop as an whole person. Mr. Speaker, yet after 46 years of hard work and funding from many sources, PNG still figure low on the United Nations Development Index and the Corruption Perception Index ranking. The vision of the national goals and directive principles compelled post-independence governments, including the 11th Parliament, to deliver social, economic, and political development and consideration to equality, economic self-reliance, national sovereignty, and the protection of the national environment. Mr. Speaker, my view is that we still have three fundamental issues that continues to have negative impact to our society, which are firstly corruption, unequal distribution of our nation's wealth, and political interference to state institutions. Mr. Speaker, the past 11 years of implementing 2050 vision has been very challenging to us. Mr. Speaker, the decline in the Human Development Index is perceived in the context of weakened and deteriorated national institutions responsible for overall governance and oversight, as expressed recently by the PNG NRI Director, Dr. Osman Sandina. Learning from the past valuable lessons, Mr. Speaker, we all can make this commitment to be ethical and professional in our duties with legal and moral integrity in all areas of our calling to make our country smart, wise, fair, healthy, and happy society for all. Mr. Speaker, every citizen of PNG has 19 distinct rights or identified rights under the Constitution, example rights of freedom, rights to life, freedom from inhuman treatment, protection of law, etc. But I wish to stress on the right to equality under Section 55 of the Constitution. Every citizen has the same rights and privileges, obligations, and duties irrespective of race, tribe, place of origin, political opinion, color, creed, religion, or sex. Mr. Speaker, PNG and our citizens must be our main agenda. Mr. Wati Prime Minister, going forward. All MPs of law on the floor of Parliament, Mr. Speaker, and the people have equal rights under the same Constitution. There must be fairness in the distribution of our resources, despite which side of the House that we sit in. Mr. Speaker, let us put away our differences, the blame games, and unite as leaders to address the common issues of concern of our people. Let there be spirit of unity and forgiveness as we go forward and chart the next course of our nation. Mr. Speaker, we have this opportunity now to make this happen. Mr. Speaker, our people are watching and our people are taking notes. They are not blind. PNG needs critical resolve to redirect our country to restore confidence amongst our citizens and many of our development partners and investors. How many evidence do we need to see and hear of the sufferings of our people are going through every day, Mr. Speaker? Considering the ever-increasing cost of living, unemployment, law and order issues, and level of corruption that is infiltrating our state institutions, Mr. Speaker, we must find the resolve to bring back PNG on track towards the aspirations of Vision 2050, or we will continue to ignore the cries and the plight of our people, the very people who voted us in this Parliament to represent them. Papua New Guinea must stop here in the next hundreds of thousands of years, Mr. Speaker. Corruption is a death sentence destroying the fabric of our societies. We need action now to address them and not next month or next year. We have to do this now, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Papua New Guinea is a country, is at a crossroad, hence needed leaders who have the passion, driven by conviction, with moral and ethical standing to put PNG and our citizens' interests before our own. This must happen now. We must act in the interest of our people who are depending on us. If we don't, we will allow the path of greed and selfishness to sow the greed of corruption and destruction. Mr. Speaker, the leaders in this 11th Parliament must make this decision to restore the pride and make Papua New Guinea one of the greatest nations in the Pacific. Our people need us more than ever to be their voice that will bring peace, harmony, and restoration in all sectors of our society. We can do this with the guidance of our Lord. We need the leaders who have their voice with ambition and action to address the needs of our country. The Prime Minister has this opportunity to put together the best team of ministers who will put PNG's interests first in your discussions. I wish the Honourable Prime Minister, Honourable James Marape, with all the blessings of God as he leads the executive arm of government as the Prime Minister of our 11th Parliament. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Me understand him, you may put him in his question be put, but we must be fairly quick. So we will Governor long Morbe.
Please.
Long, make him short talk. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I may like talk people. Thank you. Long you give me permission. Long talk lo Parliament. Long inauguration belong Prime Minister lo today. Me talk people. Thank you. Go long you. Long giving this permission. Number one, two, me like talk. Thank you. Go long you. Now congratulate him you. Long well mark him. You me all the time mark him you. You know I want to play Abrista, so all the time you can finish. Power. Long come up speaker. Me congratulate him you and me believe strong. During the time you by stop long him, you by continue long be fair long all the time members of Parliament. Now by you ban him strictly by ban him sending orders, long conducting meeting. Mr. Speaker, me congratulate him you. Number two, I like congratulate him Prime Minister elect, the Honourable Member for Tari Pori, and the Prime Minister of the country. Now you get elected today. Me congratulate him you. Now you know me congratulate him you to blah. The solo more people or watch lo milo now lo TV or ali milo radio or what them kind of way. Me la talk Sam me mark him morbe mouse lo morbe. Now me congratulate him you Prime Minister long this country. Me like him talk thank you long Pango Party. You play walk strong long this campaign and making sure Sam plenty member you elected and that the Governor General behind him now law on this country long organic law and integrity of political parties. He give him power long sing out name you lo Pango Party long boy you play sing out him name lo come up in Prime Minister. Now all of that today me play give him support. Not just long support nothing but long support because long performance. You Prime Minister, you perform Prime Minister, long this country. Now you got potential to by performing good more. That is why all of the members of the Parliament, you know, I want to play Ibelis. They giving you full power long rule, long time long Prime Minister, long how long by you stop him depends long members of the Parliament yet or behind him law blood country. Prime Minister, me congratulate you on behalf of the people of Morbi province. Prime Minister, me are speech for you and me nice plogada. All talk, you make him inside the speech and me nice plogada. Talkie got bone, talkie got meat, talkie can't power. You make him. Based on long experience for you as Prime Minister. Now based on long plan for you me, long this plan for you me, mark him, long walk him, endorse him, long Parliament yet, long leadership, long the late Grand Chief Sir Michael Thomas Somare. Long making this country by come up wise, by come up healthy, rich now. This slogan I put him inside. Wealthy, healthy, and wise. This policy. You mean not plan. You mean pass him law. Now maybe had him speech for you, and me permanent this now by leadership for you by making sure also this policy or plan you mean send up him long end. By you got kai in the times long come. So me thank you long Prime Minister. Me thank you Sir Julius Chan, Prime Minister of this country before. Now senior statesman. Now you will go stop yet. You pop up country. Ogana man talk Somali so you too pop up country. Now you talk last man standing, but Miller's making me last man standing and finishing you off. You must stop yet. You must stop here. Long time legally. And God yet sawe. But me believe for me goes strong to muscle on this point. Me Adam speech for you. Prime Minister, you make plenty good talk. But me off for 10 years long Parliament, the politician. You will continue, but me off for 10 years. Now me can retreat. People will more give me retreat. Only give me marrow on me. Only thing all too smart now only give me marrow on me only at the same time. That is why I'll mark me come back in. Now me stop on marrow, me looking some heavy below this country. Now me like him point him out on this heavy Lord Prime Minister you can hire him. Now one something. Country believe me carrying big play now. No one man can get money to give me no now. Time he come to Parliament in 1997, country carrying 10 billion. Now. So this is 10 billion people paying me up finish. Peg him up finish in the country, can I come sleep strong, can I come strong, can I come sleep straight, and come run good. Government will make it, maybe improve him legally on this flap, and I come. But now, Mr. Prime Minister, members of parliament, respected members of parliament, country carry him heavy long 40 billion over. And big plus story no good. Big plus story no good. We cannot continue. You may not continue on this road, this way. You must find him road, long down him this plan. Prime Minister, me got belief long leadership of you, because you walk on talk or central country by rich Christian nation. I think this little talk, time you stand up him, time you believe in this little talk, time you make him walk along, take it with this little talk by come up. I think this little by you can go headlong down in this you know. But we got confident also, Mr. Treasurer said by you mark him, to make him. Whatever we do, you like him, you must down him, you know. Now good name, this country must come clear. Now along the international community, all by got trust in me along this plan. So Prime Minister, we think about him, you must address in this place. No one to talk nothing. No. Not about something. You may going to rely heavily on foreign aid. You may really rely on Australia. Continue to rely on Australia. You cry, you talking about Australia and give him independent there. You may talking Australia and give him independent. You know, not man. So now by you become a dependent can. And something the same. You must work hard. Now me believe strong you to talk to Prime Minister. You must work hard. You must work hard. Now show him straight or some you independent. We cannot continue to get loans. We cannot continue to get donations. We cannot continue to get money from foreign friends. Because they kill our potentials. Or kill him savably, kill him muscle na tintably, work hard and this old age by killing me die. Now you must stand up strong and sacrifice. Now work hard or some says you send it talking to me. Prime Minister, I hope that you by killing this point below me lick na skinning mountain point below yet. Long you must not rely heavily on borrowing. You must work hard. Law along this country, Papua New Guinea, and we give him more power along foreigners long exploiting this resources play me. Law along this country. Mr. Speaker, also the Prime Minister, me believe also you
Honorable Governor Blong Morabe, you may get one block point of order.
Oh, point of order, huh?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, I note the speech, so to speak, the statement. The governor for Morabe is not actually making a speech, congratulatory speech to the Prime Minister, which you afford him the opportunity when, and you also noted it would be short. The good governor for Morabe is giving a statement on the state of the economy and issues concerning the nation. I would just ask that he stick to a congratulatory speech. Now you make an adjourn, now go back to the House. Thank you.
Honorable Governor, point of order belong Honorable Mayor belong Medeng, Emi in order. In a few sorting talk lo you long. Congratulating Prime Minister now. We can look sabe you lo time you may come back long. The next Parliament, lo Parliament, they come back in. We can allow him all members, lo Parliament, lo make him all talk.
Due respect, Mr. Speaker, lo point below you. I take what you're saying. Now, due respect, lo point belong, Mr. Kramer, honourable the member for Medang. But what you looking standing order, you know, a strict guidance will talk him. You know, when him talk, but you talk lo maiden speeches, unless you can point him, you know, standing orders. So if you know not pointing me lo standing orders, then I'm entitled to say what I have to say. You get me? So anyway, mixing point below you. Mixing point below, Speaker. So, Prime Minister, sorry, Mr. Speaker, Mila talk quickly. Display number one, AB, me to talk now. You aren't finished. But short blood assault. Mila talk logo Sam. All right, by me restricting talk me, or maybe at the grievance time, or by me talk. That's all. I don't see, you have to clear me on this point, Mr. Speaker. You got standing order and we talking me long, me by talk on this lap, that's so long. Maiden speeches, you must talk to me. All right, because everything in this parliament, Mr. Speaker, is guided by standing orders.
Honorable Governor Blomidang, today I no come long this opening block. 11th Parliament, number you can give him all maiden speeches law members of Parliament. Today you may come, business lo tete, election lo Speaker and election lo Prime Minister. Now am time where you must congratulate the Prime Minister. Now because you may sit down long day, long morning, now night. Now you may come through finish now, long day. So you must sort him talk. Now Parliament must clear up. Now you may come back in. Long. When the time Parliament is making him, you may come boom. And now we can allow him. All members will make him all speeches long.
You turn up long him. But me by receiving some rights, let me talk. Long all points, long me talk. Long one time you by giving whether grievance time or debate time or other time by me talk. But okay, me like him marking mouse long morbe, long congratulating Prime Minister, long elections belong him. Now me play morbe got confidence also leadership you by stop, stand up strong. Now walk one time all more been leaders. Minun up to talk all the leaders from Papua New Guinea and something play you yet. One time all leaders long Papua New Guinea. Also long Morbe, me play by walk one time you. Long some main issues from me play affecting one of my province from me play. Example like Wapi mining na all this play. And when me play by talk long end. Long helping you na supporting you na leadership play by go good play. Because country play you me leaders that's all by making good play talk. Na leaders that's all by making good play passing. Na country play you me people belong in want the international community all by got trust. So as leaders he make him about no trust the people, no trust long international community. Now you can face him disaster. Also na Prime Minister me got confidence. Me talk thank you. Me been fight to LA province. Na LA come up. Me been fight long in on this floor. Na LA come up. Na me proud of him. You want to beginning play LA, you come up Prime Minister 2 play time. Na me got big play. I'm a much long this play. Now I hope that when I'm work play by go good or same time will give me Prime Minister of first time. Work play go good line one kind of same that's all. Why you work to score him now you go. But finish him. We'll talk. Congratulating all the members long. When I'm up country long. I must play constituency only winning election. Na comes to 1 million here. Me like my mouse long people from Morbe. Me like him congratulating you play. Na ability long God can start 1 million play. Na wisdom belong in by helping me. Wisdom belong big play by helping me. Long by me trying long make him walk long 1 electorate. Na order big name by long Papa God and so. Thank you.
The question is that the question we now put those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Mr. Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I have to report that I this day proceed to Government House.
Next one.
I beg your pardon, Mr. Speaker. I wish to also inform Parliament that it will be His Excellency's pleasure to deliver an address on Tuesday, the 30th of August, 2022 at 10 o'clock to formally open the 11th National Parliament. I therefore move that this Parliament at its rising adjourn until Tuesday, 30th August 2022 at 10 a.m.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The question is that the Parliament is rising adjourn until Tuesday, 30th August 2022 at 10 o'clock a.m. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Mr. Prime Minister.
Parliament do now adjourn.
The question is that the Parliament do now adjourn. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Honourable members, I wish to inform the Parliament that there will be an induction program to be held here at the Parliament Precinct from the 22nd to the 26th of this month. The induction program will involve the parliamentary services in partnership with major stakeholders from government departments, PNG Business Council, Chamber of Mines and Petroleum, including the Diplomatic Corps. This is an initiative of the Clerk of Parliament and is part of the activities at every new parliament. All members are invited to attend. The parliament is adjourned until Tuesday, 30th August 2022 at 10 o'clock a.m.